Kurt Meyer was born in December 1910 in Jerxheim, a small town in Germany. His family lived a modest life, and his father worked for the railways. Growing up in the aftermath of the First World War, Meyer experienced the hardships that many Germans faced during that period. The country was struggling with economic depression, political chaos, and a sense of national humiliation. Like many young men of his generation, he grew up surrounded by stories of lost glory and defeat. These feelings would later shape his loyalty to the Nazi regime and his belief in its promise to restore German power and pride. After finishing school, Meyer joined the police in 1929. At the time, the German police were often influenced by the political changes sweeping across the country, and many of its members sympathized with the rising Nazi Party. Meyer quickly gained a reputation for being disciplined and ambitious. When Adolf Hitler came to power in 1933, the police began to align more closely with the Nazi state, and Meyer's loyalty to the new government did not go unnoticed. He officially joined the SS, an elite organization that became central to Nazi rule and its ideology of racial superiority. For Meyer, the SS represented prestige, order, and the opportunity for advancement in a time when Germany was being reshaped. In 1934, Meyer became part of the Leibstandarte SS Adolf Hitler, a unit originally formed as Hitler's personal bodyguard. The Leibstandarte was known for its strict discipline and fanatic loyalty to the Führer. It would later grow into one of the most feared divisions of the Waffen-SS, the military branch of the organization. Meyer's early years in the unit were spent training intensely and absorbing the SS's ideological teachings. He impressed his superiors with his energy, leadership, and physical toughness. He was not the tallest man, but he was athletic and forceful, with sharp features and a commanding voice that inspired both fear and respect among his men. As Germany prepared for war, Meyer's career advanced rapidly. When the German army invaded Poland in 1939, he served as a platoon leader. The invasion was brutal, and Meyer witnessed firsthand the ruthlessness of modern warfare. His unit took part in several operations against Polish troops and civilians, where the line between military and civilian targets was often ignored. The experience hardened him further and deepened his belief in the Nazi cause. He earned a reputation for decisiveness under fire and was promoted to company commander. By the time Germany launched its campaign in Western Europe in 1940, Meyer was recognized as one of the rising young officers of the Waffen-SS. During the invasion of France and the Low Countries, Meyer's leadership stood out. His unit moved quickly through Belgium, engaging in heavy fighting against British and French forces. Meyer was known for leading from the front, often exposing himself to danger to encourage his men. His aggressive style of command earned him both admiration and criticism. He demanded total commitment and had little patience for hesitation or weakness. His courage was undeniable, but so was his ruthlessness. In one action near Dunkirk, Meyer's unit captured British soldiers who were later executed, an incident that foreshadowed darker events to come. Such actions were not uncommon among SS units, where ideology and military goals were often fused into a brutal code of conduct. After France fell, Meyer continued to rise in rank. He became part of the newly formed 12th SS Panzer Division, also known as the Hitler Jugend Division, because many of its soldiers were teenage members of the Hitler Youth. Meyer, now an experienced officer, was tasked with training and leading these young recruits. He was known to be both harsh and charismatic, pushing his men to exhaustion but also inspiring loyalty. The division was created as an elite force, intended to fight with fanatical determination. Meyer's leadership helped shape its identity, combining military skill with ideological zeal. In 1941, Germany invaded the Soviet Union, and Meyer's unit was transferred to the Eastern Front. There, the war reached new levels of savagery. The Waffen-SS played a central role in Hitler's war of annihilation against the Soviet Union, where both soldiers and civilians were targeted. Meyer commanded his troops in numerous battles, displaying boldness and tactical skill. He earned several decorations for bravery, including the Iron Cross. However, reports also surfaced of atrocities committed by units under his command. Villages were burned, prisoners were shot, and civilians were massacred in reprisal operations. For officers like Meyer, such actions were often seen as part of the fight against what they called Bolshevik resistance. The brutality of the Eastern Front left deep moral scars on all who served there. By 1943, Meyer had become one of the youngest regimental commanders in the Waffen-SS. His success on the battlefield continued, and his fame within the SS grew. He was nicknamed Panzer Meyer because of his skill in armored warfare and his habit of leading tanks personally into combat. His aggressive tactics brought both victories and high casualties. He was admired by his men for his bravery and energy, but feared for his temper and harsh discipline. He believed that courage and loyalty were the ultimate virtues and demanded them absolutely. In 1944, as the Allies prepared to invade Western Europe, Meyer and the 12th SS Panzer Division were stationed in Normandy. When the D-Day landings began in June, his division was ordered to counterattack. The young soldiers of the Hitler-Jugend Division fought fiercely, often to the death, against seasoned Canadian and British troops. Under Meyer's leadership, they launched repeated assaults that slowed the Allied advance but cost thousands of lives. The fighting was brutal, and the hatred on both sides was intense. During these battles, several war crimes were committed by Meyer's men, including the execution of captured Canadian prisoners. The killings shocked Allied forces and became some of the most infamous atrocities of the campaign. As the Allies pressed inland, Meyer's situation became desperate. His division was gradually destroyed in the fierce fighting around Caen and Falaise. Despite his efforts, the Germans were forced to retreat. Meyer was eventually captured by Belgian partisans in September 1944 after his vehicle was ambushed. He was handed over to the British and later charged with war crimes for the execution of Canadian prisoners in Normandy. The trial took place in 1945 in Canada and became one of the first major war crimes trials involving a Waffen-SS officer. During the trial, Meyer defended himself by claiming that he had not ordered the killings and that the executions were carried out by subordinates without his knowledge. He argued that the chaos of battle made it impossible for him to control every action of his troops. However, the evidence showed that Meyer had encouraged a culture of extreme aggression and had failed to prevent or punish the murders. The court found him guilty and sentenced him to death. Later, the sentence was commuted to life imprisonment. Meyer was sent to a Canadian prison where he spent several years before being transferred to a German facility. His case remained controversial, with some viewing him as a scapegoat and others as a symbol of SS brutality. While in prison, Meyer wrote about his experiences, portraying himself as a loyal soldier who had fought honorably for his country. His writings, like those of many former SS officers, tried to separate the Waffen-SS from the crimes of the Nazi regime, arguing that it was a purely military organization. Historians have since rejected this view, showing that the Waffen-SS was deeply involved in war crimes and genocide throughout Europe. Meyer's attempts to justify his actions reflected the broader effort by many ex-Nazis to rewrite history in their favor during the early years of the Cold War. In 1954, after serving about 9 years in prison, Meyer was released. His release was celebrated by former SS members and nationalist groups in West Germany who saw him as a hero and martyr. He became active in veterans organizations and gave speeches defending the honor of the Waffen-SS. In post-war Germany, such groups played a significant role in shaping public memory of the war. Meyer's charisma and reputation made him a popular figure among those who wanted to portray the SS as a band of brave soldiers rather than criminals. His speeches often mixed nostalgia for the past with a call for unity in the new Germany. Despite his efforts to rebuild his image, Meyer's past never fully left him. He was watched closely by Allied authorities and criticized by many who saw his public appearances as an attempt to whitewash Nazi crimes. In private, he suffered from poor health, likely a result of his years in prison and the stress of the war. He died in December 1961, at the age of 51, after collapsing during a speech at a veterans event. His funeral was attended by thousands of former SS members, who treated him as a fallen hero. Kurt Meyer's life reflects both the rise and fall of the Nazi system. He was a talented soldier who rose from humble beginnings to become a general at a young age, driven by ambition and belief in the Nazi cause. His leadership and bravery on the battlefield were genuine, But so was his complicity in the crimes of a regime built on terror and racism. Like many members of the Waffen-SS, Meyer tried after the war to separate his actions from the larger system he served, but history has shown that such separation was impossible. The SS, including its combat divisions, was an instrument of Nazi ideology, responsible for countless atrocities across Europe. Meyer's story serves as a reminder of how ordinary people can become part of extraordinary evil when they surrender moral judgment to loyalty and ideology. His courage in battle cannot erase the suffering caused by the army he led or the prisoners who were executed under his command. His attempts to justify his role after the war show how powerful the human urge to deny guilt can be, even in the face of overwhelming evidence. In the end, Kurt Panzer Meyer remains a symbol of the destructive mix of fanaticism, discipline, and ambition that defined the SS and the wider Nazi project. His life and legacy continue to be studied as an example of how devotion to a cause, when stripped of humanity, can lead to both personal success and moral ruin. Do you believe that Kurt Meyer got off lightly? Let me know your thoughts in a comment below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe.